and welcome back to Words of Wisdom Wednesday, where every WoW Wednesday we try to meet you and give you a little bit of the word. Welcome back to the back deck. If you guys have watched the last couple of WoW Wednesdays, you've noticed I'm in the same clothes. It's because I have been saving things in my notes that God has been speaking to me about. And so today he said, let's get them out. So we are just firing away. I am here with my trustworthy co-host that loves to listen, the marvelous Mabel, who is still at her post supervising me to make sure that I'm getting the job done that I need to get done. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about God and how he talks to us. On Sunday night, Miss Deanna, she was teaching and she asked how God speaks to us. And I said through song. God speaks a lot to me through song. I've shared last week how I have learned a lot and God's been working on me and my self idol, my self worship, and how that being pointed out stung a little bit, but my worship now is more pure than what it used to be. And it's more enjoyable. It's more enjoyable. So I want to talk today about what the sound of God's voice is like. He talks to us in many different ways. One of the reasons why I love being up here out on my back deck is because I'm up in the trees. My deck is probably 10 feet, 12 feet off the ground. And so I'm up in the treetops. We have in this room here, this is our dining room, and in the dining room there's a bed, and we call it the nap bed. And when we have company over, it's a spare bed, and I stay out there. And some relatives that came over was like, how do you sleep out here? How do you sleep with these windows open? There may be somebody looking in the windows. They have to be in a tree. They have to be probably 20 feet up in a tree before they can see you. But that being said, I love being out in nature. I love hiking. I love being on the water. I love being outside. And this is my place. This is where God speaks to me. And I'll probably share on a testimony Tuesday about something that he did to test me, kind of what we're going to look at with Elisha in First Kings, a new version of God's testing and what he asked me to do. But today we're going to concentrate on Elisha and his experience. Here, for the past, I would say, couple of months, I've been struggling with a decision. It's a life-altering decision. It's something that is going to correct. It's going to affect not only me, but my family and some people that we know. And I've been praying hard about it, and I haven't received a voice. I haven't received an answer. And I'm pretty blunt sometimes, and I like it when God's blunt with me because he can be. He can be very yes and he can be very no, but he also speaks in those small whispers. And when he does that, it drives me crazy because I'm like, are you sure, God? I didn't hear you right. Can you say it a little louder for the people in the back because I'm hard of hearing? And he don't work that way. That's not how trust works with God. So in my praying, I know that whatever situation, whatever choice that I make in this situation, that God's going to take care of me. But my prayer has been that I be in God's will, wherever that may be. So I've been back and forth, and it come down to here recently. Um, I just stood my ground with myself, and I said, you know what? I haven't received an answer yet. I'm going to take that as an answer that I'm supposed to stay put where I'm at. I was asked about my decision and what that entailed, and so I was very blunt. It was very black and white to the people that I was talking to, and explained to them what my options were and what my feelings were and convictions were. And they all coincide. that doesn't always happen, but this time it did. And I was able after that to take a breather and not stress about it. It's one less thing off my plate. And it felt good. And I realized a couple of days later that that was God. That was God speaking to me. I just wasn't listening. I was wanting the big, loud, boomy voice and the big, blinky sign and, the Gumby guy, the air, guy that waves his arms, or, the people that stand out at the curve waving the arrows for taxes. And it doesn't always work that way. An example of this is in 1 Kings 19, and I'm going to back up to verse 11. We're going to read 11 through 13. So Elijah's in a cave right now, and God is speaking to Elijah, and he's wanting Elijah to learn some things about communication and about how God is speaking to him. Go and stand before me on the mountain, the Lord told him, and Elijah stood there. And the Lord passed by, and a mighty windstorm hit the mount. It was such a terrible blast that the rocks were torn loose, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was the sound of a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in a cloak and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And the voice said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" I'm going to keep going. He replied again, "I have zealously served the Lord God Almighty, but the people of Israel have broken their covenant with you and torn down your altars and killed every one of your prophets. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." Verse 15. Then the Lord told him, "Go back in the same way that you came and traveled the wilderness of Damascus. And when you arrive there, anoint Hazael to be the king of Aram. Then anoint Jeresh Jehu, the grandson of Nimshi, to be the king of Israel, and anoint Elisha, the son of Shaphat, from the town of Abel Malolah, and replace you as my prophet." So Elisha got his answer, but it wasn't in the wind. This may be comical here in just a minute. It wasn't in the fire, and it wasn't in the earthquake, but it was in the whisper. How is God whispering to you today? What decisions have you been struggling with that maybe God's already answered? Mabel's Mabeling. See y'all.